Okay, this is part 9 of Prevent and Reverse Hypertension by me, Pete Rogers. Right now we're going to be talking about psychological stress. So the body has a lot of things that are like a seesaw. And the seesaw is between SANS and PANS. SANS is sympathetic autonomic nervous system, which is also called fight or flight. Sometimes fight, flight, or freeze. PANS is parasympathetic autonomic nervous system, and PANS is feed and breed, rest and digest. And that's how the brain works. I mean, it's always trying to decide. It has limited resources. What should it do with those resources? So, why do we have a brain? So we can walk down a path in a forest, a jungle, or a prairie and survive, and also to reproduce. Okay, so the brain's always asking itself a question. Are things cool or not cool? Cool or not cool? Cool or not cool? And if things are cool, then you can focus on finding some food, looking for a woman, whatever you're going to do. You just do your natural thing. But if things are not cool, there's a couple wolves, coyotes, you got to get ready to run, fight or flight. For our ancestors, physical stress mostly meant, immediate physical danger, a predator. You better survive the next 30 minutes or an hour or you're dead, and that's it. So if you need to run from a predator, then it's, being chased by a tiger in the dark is a metaphor to remember everything in stress. So all of your resources are geared towards pushing glucose and fats into the blood, so you've got more energy available, especially the glucose, to run, climb a tree, to fight, to do whatever you need to do. Okay, at that moment, your immune system doesn't matter. You don't need to worry about healing an ulcer on your foot. You just need to survive the next couple of minutes. So your immune system is shut off. Your intestinal tract, you don't need to worry about digesting your food. So your intestinal tract is shut off. You vasoconstrict, clamp down on the blood vessels to your gut. That sort of thing. You don't need to do sophisticated, complex thought with your frontal lobes. You just need to use more of your primitive mammal brain in the center of the brain to run, fight, climb a tree, whatever you got to do. Okay, so the hormones that come up are cortisol, which gets your blood glucose levels up real fast. Also your blood lipids though, and it also is a volume retention. It causes you to retain sodium in your kidneys to raise your blood volume so that when your arteries are vasodilated to all your muscles as you're running, fighting, fleeing, you will have enough blood volume. Otherwise you'd become hypotensive and pass out. Your catecholamines also come into play, and that's your adrenergic nervous system. Same thing as sympathetic autonomic nervous system. That's adrenaline, noradrenaline. That'll vasoconstrict the arteries that are not in use to maintain the blood volume for the ones that are in use. And that will also increase your heart rate and the contractility, contraction power of your heart, so to speak, to be able to pump blood effectively to your muscles, which are fully vasodilated as you're running, fighting, fleeing, climbing a tree, whatever. Okay, that's psychological stress. The point of it is, though, that's going to raise your blood pressure. And for our ancestors, again, it was a physical danger for 30 minutes, an hour, something like that. But in the modern world, people are often psychologically stressed day after day after day. Plus, what many people do is they don't get enough sleep. They're stressed out, they have a difficult job, whatever it might be, and so they don't get enough sleep. Sleep deprivation raises the same hormones, catecholamines and cortisol, and then also they compensate quite often by drinking coffee, caffeine or some other caffeinated source. Sometimes they even smoke cigarettes, or sometimes they're taking stimulants for attention deficit or something stupid like that. And all of these things contribute to raising their blood pressure. So that is a contributing factor to hypertension. So it's good to do whatever you can to, number one, avoid caffeine, gradually taper it off. Number two, manage your stress however you see that fit. I like the idea of Schopenhauer, the idea that you forget about trying to have a happy life. Try to have a heroic life in the sense that you say to yourself, how much time do I got left on this planet? Probably such and such many years. What's the best I could do with the time I got left? I shall try to do that. And if you do that, you will respect yourself because you did the best you could with what was available to you and your options. And because you respect yourself, you like yourself, and you're happier. That's a good way to go. Religious people are healthier. Religious people are happier. They sort of give it over to God to some extent. The serenity prayer, I shall do the best I can to make the most of the things I can change and just have to accept the things I can't. Okay, so all of that makes them happier and healthier. And you need to get your stress down to control your lipids and stuff, because otherwise you're going to be prone to being more hypertensive. You're going to be at increased risk for atrial fibrillation, increased risk for diabetes, because by raising your blood glucose and your blood lipids, it increases your risk of diabetes and hypertension, which increase your risk of atherosclerosis, which increase your risk of dementia, which increase your risk of coronary artery disease, myocardial infarction, AFib, and all this stuff. So you want to avoid all that as best you can. And like I said, I found that very helpful, that idea of Schopenhauer's. I shall try to have a heroic life, because it just gets you into the right mindset, and it energizes you. And Christianity energizes you too. That's why I love all those Christian heroes, because they inspire you to do the best you can. And of course, I love Aristotle and Aquinas and Isaac Newton and lots of other ones. And for inspirational guys, I think the modern most inspirational speaker, there's guys like Jim Rohn. Just type in Jim Rohn, listen to his advice. Type in Brian Tracy. He's also good for motivating you. Okay, so what else did I got here? Obesity contributes to hypertension. Yeah, fat people tend to be more likely hypertensive. Well, it's also because fat people tend to eat more processed food, and they tend to eat more animal foods, and they tend to eat more oils. All of those things make them fat and contribute to causing hypertension. You don't want to eat any oils, none, zero. Olive oil is bad for you. I previously talked about that. I got a good summary of that over at Veg Source. I got lectures about it here on this YouTube channel as well. All oils are bad. Anybody tells you olive oil is good for you, they're full of BS, and you should not take them so seriously, would be my thoughts on that. Processed food makes people fat. I showed you the Nauru, the fattest people in the world, from eating processed food, because processed food's got all the bad stuff in it. The worst food in the world is processed food in general, and the oils, and then next would be the animal foods. And of course, you can subcategorize it more. The animal foods are worse when they come from a CAFO, concentrated animal feeding organization, rather than when they're out in the wild, so to speak. And low-fat organic plants are better than non-organic plants, are better than high-fat plants. Okay, oils are all bad. Even olive oil is a highly processed food. Processed food's full of chemicals like MSG, MFG, monosodium glutamate, manufactured free glutamate. They make it hyper palatable. It tastes good. They make it taste good. They put a lot of salt in there, which tastes good, high fructose corn syrup. But then it's also, you eat too much of it and you become fat. Okay, we'll leave it at that for tonight. Hope that was helpful.